Hi there, Bryan Johnston here, trying the YouTube spoken word thing. If you like what you hear, go to bryanejohnston.com, Bryan with a Y, Johnston with a T. Anyway, this one's called What I Want to Write, and it's inspired by Bob Dylan and his poem Last Thoughts on Woody Guthrie. So, here goes. I want to write something that wakes people up when the wine don't reach to the top of the cup, when everything seems about the same, when your fire ran away in a fast-moving train, when your clothes are all worn, your colors all gray, and your thoughts are all lazy, and your dog's gone stray, when you're not feeling so tough, you're not feeling sly, worried about everything seems to imply, when everything's tacky and plastic and phony, and your starch bread is stale around processed bologna, when you find yourself walking uneven terrain, when a polka dot umbrella just means it'll rain, when your magazines show off their photoshopped curves, and you're wishing your girl looked a bit more like her, when you find yourself swallowed on up by the crowd, you're worried what they think so you don't make a sound, when everything you got you don't really need, when you got to be charging but you don't got a steed, when you're always doing things that you don't want to do and you can't hardly breathe but to think about for who, when night after night you can't get to sleep and you're rolling around like a bug in a leaf, and you're watching the clock and rustling the sheets till one day you wake up somewhere you don't want to be, and it's morning already and your alarm clock's singing, and you're saying good morning to your white stucco ceiling, and the sun's inching up and over the trees and you're thinking, man, I ain't really ready for the day, can you just blow on by me please? When you get to your job, the sun hasn't risen, and you drive home at night, and the stars are all glistening, and it's one obligation after the next. Oh, Lord, what might happen if you get the axe? When your desk is all cluttered and the phone just keeps ringing and nobody hears the ideas you're bringing. When you sell your thoughts for a couple bucks an hour, but they aren't even used, they ain't got no power. When you clear out the stack of forms in your tray, and they're all back again on the very next day with a little note saying why they're not okay. When the printer won't print and the stapler won't staple. When you spilled some coffee and stained your label. When you sit there, smile, nod, shake hands, and you feel like you're learning a fancy new dance. When you tell everybody you're good all the time. When everything is nice and everything's fine, you can't answer no different like a goddamn mind, but they all gotta know that you're flat out lying. When they're out of sugar cookies at the lunch trade line and all the seats are taken, you gotta sit outside. When you park the wrong way and your car gets towed, you gotta walk up to the lot up the long dusty road. When you wake up gut aching and just want to sleep, but you gotta head in for some deadline to meet. When you're racing your fastest to pass the blame, racing to delegate, racing to shame, racing to look like you're working away. When you're looking out the window watching the rain. And people are talking, you're hearing your name, talking about the weekend, about the big game. You gotta smile and laugh, working your jowls, because you gotta be friends, you gotta be pals, you gotta work together for God's sakes. And when the words are all right, but the words come out wrong, and no one gets what you're saying, no one's playing along, they all look at you funny with scrunched up faces when you're getting too close to those delicate places. The things that you're saying aren't so far-fetched, but it's like you're talking to a bus station bench. And you tell everybody, but they all think you're strange, that you're thinking too much, that you're sounding deranged, and your drain pipes are clogged, and the waters are rising, and the smog in the buildings blot out the horizon till it's bubbling up out of holes in your head, and you're pinching yourself to make sure you're not dead, and the world is all swirling, and the world is all spinning, and you're losing your count of who's losing and winning, and the dark clouds approaching to cover the sky, and it's cold and it's rainy, and you just can't deny it, the tentacles reaching out all intertwined, with your guts and your throat and your heart and your mind, when you're feeling all beat up and hopeless and alone, and you don't even know the best way to get home, and you're wondering why this is all happening to you, why you of all people. Why ain't it like they said when you were small? Why'd you believe you could keep playing ball? Why'd you believe when they said, and I quote, work hard and you have a big pile of banknotes? Why'd you believe what they said about love, what they said about justice and heaven above? Why'd they explain to you all those things that come right apart when you pull out the string, till there ain't nothing left but the wooden cork spool that stares right back like a dry empty pool? Oh, they're all fraternity kids, it's all wine and cheese until you buy in, then it's down on your knees. They string you up top in the telephone trees and you're whipped in your lash and you're dangling in the breeze. But you gotta remember to keep saying please, you don't want to be rude, do ya? And when you're walking at night through the city alone and the wind whips heavy right down to the bone through the acres of concrete, the landscaped-in trees, and the gravel and garbage and the parking lot weeds, and the business suits pouring out 5 o'clock sharp to cover the ground like a black fabric tarp that's moving and rustling all over the place but making very certain to avoid your face, and the cars stream out to clog up the streets, and you hear the horns blare and feel the exhaust heat, and everyone's elbowing and shoving and rushing and giving the finger and hollering and cussing. But 1 hour later and everyone's gone to the suburban cradles with the televisions on, to rest up their bones from the long busy day, to shut up their minds, make the world go away. And the monolith building's so empty and lonely, a light or two on, but it's nothing only, a cleaning crew keeping the skeleton from molding, and you're certain there's nothing in the world that's holy. And what's left in the streets is the back of the class, the overripe gutters and the dull broken glass, the tired-eye sacks and the sad grizzled faces moving closer to death with each of their paces, the intricate tags fighting for space on the walls of the parking lots, offices, hotspots, and malls, and the plastic bags dancing with the rusted lug nuts and the dried spots of tar and the cigarette butts. And everyone's screaming, but their mouths are all closed, and you know what they're saying here, what they propose. Look at me, they say, look at my hair shine, look at my breast pop, look at my eyes talk. Look at my pants stretch, look at my coat swish, look at my shoes wink, look at my shit, it don't stink. Look at my things, but not my thoughts, I don't think. And they're throwing it out there like the kitchen sink. They're pouring you Kool-Aid that you just can't drink. That we all live forever, we got the best drugs. Well, that's what it says on your coffee cup mug. And machines that deliver blood to your head, and the cities with blinking lights and comatose beds. Boy, and life really starts when you turn 65, and the nursing homes, hospitals, losing your mind. And they ain't speaking nothing but all of them say, boy, life is so long, I can afford to watch a little TV today. And you're getting it all, and it's all not all right, and your insides swarm up and head for the light. But you shove them back down, and you keep your hands steady, and you feel like you're driving a 457 Chevy. And your heart's all racing, you can hear the noise, and you're steering yourself straight into the boy, you're going crazy. But I found it, man. I found it all right. I found what you're looking for late in the night. The thing that you're missing, the question you asked, that's right there in your palm, but just outside your grasp. But it's something that don't fit all that well into words, and when I try to grab hold, it fades and it blurs. And I can't get it down just right just yet as it's blasting around my head like a fighter jet. I swear to you, I really did try, but it just wasn't working, wasn't coming out right. The best I can do and the best I can say when you're feeling untethered and drifting away. When something's sounding funny from under the hood and everything's made of imitation wood. When you're watching everybody like their zippers undone or they're staring down at you from the barrel of a gun. I'm trying to write such a thing, such a speech, such a song, and somehow arrange so it's everywhere heard. Where the people are lonely and the days are too long, though we all understand that words is just words. So come on, watch the sunrise. Come on, watch the sun glow. Give a change to the homeless guy making faces outside your window. But until I get down all this garbage I'm spilling, you better find yourself a god or some good old Bob Dylan.